Where are we?
Nedarim, Dav Chaf Amud Aleph 20a, right at the top. Mishnah.
One. Sorry, one.
20a1,
Oh, 28 one.
right at the top. Here
Mishnah.
we go. Mishnah. Finish the parak today. That's right. Neder b'cherem. A guy says, I'm making a neder, and like on a cherem, like this is a cherem to me. We know cherem generally is a korban. So okay, that should work. That's a working word for nedarim. Then right after he says, "Ve'amar lo nadarti ela becharmo shel yam." He said, no, I didn't mean cherem of korban. I made a cherem about my a neder about my chermo shel yam. Chermo shel yam is actually a fish trap. The Ran says this. It's interesting. The Rans on Chaf Amud Aleph start actually on Yud Chet Amud Bet. Some of the Rans there. We're not going to go through those ones, but so he says, no, I didn't mean korban. I meant chermo shel yam. And these are examples of when a person explains his neder right away, it works, and we believe the explanation. So second case, be korban. Person is making a neder. This is like a korban. What I meant was korbanot of kings, which is like gifts. I didn't mean that this should be asur to me like a korban. This should be like a gift to the melachim. Hare atzmi korban. If a person says, behold, I myself am like a korban, meaning I'm offering my value to the Bet HaMikdash, or I am making myself asur to certain things, or people are asur to me because I'm like a korban. Ve'amar, and he said, lo nadarti. I think that's Ezra, or is that, I can't tell what that is.
It's Judah.
Yehuda. Oh, okay. That was good. That was my second guess. Before Shilma Yehuda, he told me he wasn't feeling well. Feel better. Okay, we're in the Mishnah. Hare atzmi korban, and then he says, "V'amar lo nadarti ela be'etzem shehinachti li liot noder bo." Etzem means a bone. So he says, "Hare atzmi korban." Myself is like a korban, but he says, I didn't mean atzmi myself. I meant etzem me. Etzmi, meaning etzem sheli, like I have a bone at home, a dog bone, whatever it is. Shehinachti li liot nadar bo, that I left it there to swear on it. Meaning, a guy says to his friend, by the way, you thought we were good friends. Hare atzmi korban. You can't benefit from me anymore. You're like korban. So I said, what? He said, what do you mean? He said, I was just joking. I didn't mean atzmi, like you can't benefit. Atzmi, you can't benefit from that etzem, that bone that I have at home. So he wants to get out of it like that, but he explains right away, so it's believed. Kunam ishti nehenetli. He makes a promise. He says, my wife can't benefit from me. And you see? It's perfect when you walked in. It says here, a guy makes a neder that my wife can't benefit from me. So,
She's not benefiting.
what is it? She's benefiting. So, ve'amar lo nadarti ela beishti harishona shegirashti. He says, I didn't make a neder of my wife not to benefit from me. What I meant was, my first wife that I divorced, she should not benefit from me. Amen. Al kulan, on all of them, en nishalin alav. We don't ask on it, meaning he doesn't need to ask to get out of the neder. It's not a neder. Ve'im nishalu, but if they did ask on it, now the Gemara is going to say, what does it mean? You just said en nishalin. Why are you saying and if they did ask me? If you did ask the tzaddik, can I get out of this neder? So we're going to see what this means. Ve'im nishalu onshinotan umachmirin aleim. Divrei Rabbi Meir. We punish them and we're stringent on them. Those are the words of Rabbi Meir. So we will explain. We'll explain both in the. We'll explain it now. So what's going on, and then we'll see it in the Gemara. So we just said on all these cases, en nishalin lahen, we do not ask, meaning your neder is not a neder. Don't worry about it. You explained yourself. And if you did ask to get out of it, we're going to punish him and we're going to be stringent on him. Those are the words we're reading here. What does this mean? The Gemara is going to explain that it's talking about a Talmid Chacham and an Am Haaretz. A Talmid Chacham, we believe him when he says, what I meant was this. So we believe him. An Am Haaretz, no, we don't believe him. And he has to get out of that neder. So when he gets out of that neder, he wants to say, I said, I don't want my wife to benefit me. What I meant was my ex-wife. No. You said that, and you're an Am Haaretz. We're going to punish you, and we're going to be stringent on you. And the reason is because we don't want you to treat Nedarim lightly. We don't want you to treat promises and oaths and talking, in a light way. So on Shinoto, the Gemara is going to say is we punish him, meaning let's say he made the promise on a Sunday, and then on a week later he says, by the way, I didn't mean that, I meant this. So the Chachamim will tell him, we'll punish him by saying, you were walking around for a week with this, and now you want to say this is what you meant? So we're not going to get you out of this neder for another week. You were walking around for a week, we're not going to get you out for a week. Umachmirin alav, and we are stringent on him in the following way. There's two ways a person can get out of a neder. A guy makes a neder, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made that promise. Two ways to get out of it. Number one is charata, feeling bad. And you go to the rabbis, you go to the betin, please, I feel bad, I didn't realize it. And they see proper charata, they could undo the neder. Or finding a petach. Finding a petach is, if you would have known this, would you have made that neder? And charata is much easier. You just feel bad about it and you would get out. But finding a petach, that's much harder. If you would have known this, that's why I made the neder. If I would have known this, then we find, if you would have known that, would you have made the neder still? Oh, no. Then we open it up. There's two ways. So, when we're stringent on it, means charata is not enough. You need a petach.
One quick question: how do we decide who's a Am Haaretz?
Good question. Good question. How do we decide who's an Am Haaretz? Maybe the Bet Din there would realize, or maybe if he's not a Talmid Chacham, then he's automatically in that category. Maybe. Good point. So that's Rabbi Meir. We're stringent. Chachamim omrim potchim lahen petach mimakom acher. We open up a petach for them. Mimakom acher would mean over here charata. We open up a petach for them mimakom acher, that and from not just a regular petach, from somewhere else, which is even charata. We let them, even if they feel bad, and we can open up for them. Umelamdim otam, we teach them though. We do this to them. We teach them kadesh lo yinahu kalut rosh benedarim, so they shouldn't be lenient and noeg kalut rosh when it comes to nedarim. Take nedarim seriously. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to explain what I spoke out. Hagufa kasha. It's a question in and of itself. Amarta en nishalin lahen. You said we don't need to ask about this. It's this neder. We believe the person because he explained himself. And then the Mishnah taught, then it taught that if they did ask on it, then we punish them and we're stringent on them. What's going on over here? Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda hakiktani. This is what we meant to say. V'kulan en tzrichin she'ela. On all these cases, they do not need she'ela. You don't need to ask, say, to get out of a neder because it's not a neder. But what's the case? B'tamid Chacham. That's with the Tamid Chacham. But Am Haaretz, with an Am Haaretz, Sheba Lishal, he wants to now get out of his neder. On Shinoto, we punish him and we're stringent on him.
Kind of answer the question.
That what?
Unless you're a Talmid Chacham.
Unless you're a Talmid Chacham. Yeah, then automatically you're Am Haaretz. Bishlam Machmirin. So the Gemara says, okay, I understand being stringent on him. We don't allow him to get out of it by just feeling bad. What's the case of punishment? I understand we're stringent on him, saying, okay, you got to take a more stringent route of getting out of this neder by finding a petach, finding an opening, and you feeling bad is not going to be enough. But what does it mean we punish him? Says the Gemara, Kedetanya says in the Braita, Mish Nazar ve'avala naziruto, person became a nazir, and then he violated his nazirut. En nizkakin lo, we don't pay attention to him. Achi Hogbo, that's right. No problem. So we don't. If a person says he's going to be a nazir, and then Mishnah Avar Naziruto, then he went against his own promise of being a nazir. En nizkakin lo, we don't pay attention to him. Ad she'inhog bo isur ki yamim shenahag bahen heter, until he acts in a nazir fashion of being asur to things that a nazir is asur to, like the days he was acting beheter. So a nazir, the guy takes on to be a nazir, and day 10, from day 10 to day 20, for those 10 days, he was violating his nazir. Then he comes and says, oh my gosh, you know what, if I violate my nazir, which I do, so we don't listen to you until you replace those 10 days. Take another 10 days of being a nazir, and then we'll speak to you to try getting you out of it, out of the neder, etc. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That is the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Amar Rav Yossi says, Bame dvarim amurim benezirut mu'etet. That's talking about a case of a small nezirut, which is a 30-day nezirut. A 30-day nezirut is a minimum nezirut, so therefore the amount of days that this guy violated nezirut, that's the amount of days that he has to kind of replace before we address him. He violated 5 days, 5 days. 7 days, 7 days. Ava b'nezirut merubah, but nezirut, a big nezirut, which is more than 30 days, 30 days is enough. Meaning, a nezirut merubah, let's say a guy says, I'm going to be a nazir for 100 days. And he violated 50 days of those 100, so he has to replace those 50 days. But says the Gemara, no, 30 days max. So even if he says, I'm going to be a nazir for 1,000 days, and he violates a lot of them, 30 days max. Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, Ho'il ve'amir Rabbanan, en nizkakin lo, since the Chachamim said we don't pay attention to him, bedina de mizdakki, a bedin that did listen to him, that did go and try to get him out of it during the time that they said they shouldn't, lo avid shapir, they're not behaving properly, they're not doing the right thing. V'achabar Yaakov Omer, V'achabar Yaakov says, meshamtin le, we're put that bedin in cherem for doing such a thing. So they see over here a difference between Talmidei Chachamim and Am Haaretz with regards to Nedarim and if they could get out of it, and we want to teach the lesson of not saying Nedarim in a kalut rosh, in a light way, not treating it lightly. And therefore we punish them by this, the amount of days that they violated, we still tag on to them before we get them out of the neder. And we're stringent on them by them having to find a petach as opposed to being just charata. And actually, if we just go to the Ran on the left side, Uli Inyan Halacha, not the first one, the one that's halfway down on the Rans on the left side, the Uli Inyan Halacha, Kaimalan ke Rabbanan. We go like Rabbanan's opinion. It was Meir against Chachamim. Chachamim's Rabbanan. The Matnitin, the Amri Nedarim Alalu en Onshinotan. We don't punish them. We also allow them to get out of it with charata. That's Chachamim's opinion. No punishment and just charata. So we go lenient. Okay, next, 2 dots. Chachamim say, Potchin lo petach. We're lenient. We opened for them a petach. They could even feel bad, and then that's how they could get out of the neder. Tana, we taught in Masechet Derech Eretz, a small Masechet, Leolam al tehi ragib nedarim. A person should not be accustomed to making neders. Shesofcha lim'ol b'shvuot. At the end, you will violate shavuot. And we said shavuot are a shavua, an oath is more stringent, as we saw that the lo yenakeh, if you remember from last Gemara, that you can't be clean from a shavua if you violate it. Next thing. Ve'al tehi ragil etzel am haaretz. Don't hang around am haaretz. Shesovcha le'achilcha tvalim. Because at the end he's going to feed you tevel. Tevel is in Eretz Yisrael we have to take terumah and maaser, but while it's still on the ground and nothing was taken off of it yet, it's called tevel. You can't eat it until terumah and maaser are taken off. So if you always hang around the amaretz, they don't take off terumah and maaser. They're going to give you tevel. And al tehi ragil etzel kohen amaretz. Don't be around a kohen amaretz. Shesovcha le'achilcha terumah. He's going to end up giving you terumah. He's allowed to eat terumah, but he'll be light and be like, oh, here, take some of this, try some, whatever, and he'll feed you terumah. Ve'al tarbeh sicha im ha'isha, and don't talk a lot with the woman. And this seems like not your wife in this case, but another woman. Shesofcha lavo lidin niuf, because at the end of the day you could come to adultery. Too much talking to women, God forbid, you come to adultery.
Sounds like Pirkei Avot a little bit.
Yeah, it
Is
does.
it the same?
Well, it does quote over here Pirkei Avot. I mean, here it's the same words. Al tabei sicha im ha'isha, be'ishtecha ameru. That's what it says in Pirkei Avot. Right? Be'ishtecha ameru, kal vachomer be'eshet chavero. The more so with your friend's wife, and shesavcho liresh gehinam. At the end, you're going to inherit gehinam. But here it's saying if you always talk to your wife, I don't think it's going to lead to niuf. I think here it's talking about a different lady.
It says a woman, I think.
Yeah.
With a woman in mind.
Yeah. Rabbi Acha, Rabbi Yoshia, Omer, Kol hatzofel banashim. Acha, the son of Rabbi Yoshia, says, anyone that looks at woman, sofo ba lidei avera, at the end he's going to come to sin. If you're always looking at woman, you're going to come to sin. V'chol hamistakel ba'akeva shel isha, anyone that looks at the heel of a woman, havien lo banim she'enam mehuganim. You have children that are not proper. And we're going to explain what this means. Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef, ubeishto nida, and it's even talking about your own wife when she's a nida. If you look, even at her heel, it can make you children that are not proper. So what does this mean? Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, akeva dektani, what it means akeva is b'makom hatinofet. It's talking about a lady's private area. Because that is opposite her heel. So you might say, what do you mean? Her heel and her thing? How does that work? Because people back in the day would sit on the floor cross-legged. So you're sitting cross-legged, a lady's heel is near her private area. So a cleaner way of saying not to look at her private area is not to look at her heel. So that's what it means. If you're looking at her private area, then it could bring you to children that are not mehuganim. This is the bright, the third line down in the wide lines. Tanya. Ba'avur tiyeh yirato al panechem. The pasuk says, in order to have yirat shamayim on your face, zu busha. This is shame. A person should have shame on their face, to be embarrassed. And how does that help? Levilti techetau, and that will help you from not sinning. Melamed, this teaches us. Shehabusha mevi'ah lidei yirat chet. Having busha, having some shame, brings you to the fear of sinning. Mikan amru, from here we said, siman yafeh ba'adam, it's a good sign for a man, shehu baishan, that he is a baishan, he's bashful. Acherim omrim, what?
Is it shy?
Baishan,
Like the meaning of baishan?
shy.
Shy.
Yeah, shy, having shame, being embarrassed, yeah. Acherim omrim, others say, kol adam hamitbayesh, anyone that's shy, anyone that's bashful, anyone that's lo bimhera uchote, he doesn't sin quickly. Because he's embarrassed, he's shy to sin. Umin she'en lo boshet panim, but someone who doesn't have boshet panim, he has azut panim, he doesn't care, but he's not embarrassed, he's not shy, yeah, I don't care, brazen. Beyadua shelo amdu avotav al Har Sinai. You could attest that this guy's fathers didn't stand at Har Sinai. It's pretty severe words. This guy's a brazen guy, right? So let's see what this means. Let's go to the Ran. It's the 3 lines up from the bottom. 3 lines up from the bottom. Lo amdu avotav al Har Sinai. you could see that his fathers didn't stand at Har Sinai. She'areh, behold, Natan Tam lemamad Har Sinai, because Hashem in the Torah gave us a reason for what happened at the standing of Har Sinai. Leba'avur tiyeh yirato penechem. When you stand at Har Sinai, you're going to have Yirat Shamayim on your face. Uchtiv, and it says, Et asher yeshno po hayom, ve'et asher enenu po. And this Mamad Har Sinai is for you that are standing here, and for your children that are not standing here. Meaning Mamad Har Sinai was for Bnei Israel at the time, and for all the subsequent Bnei Israel. Those that are standing, those that are not standing here. And therefore, it means the Yirat Shamayim that you're going to get at Har Sinai is going to be on you and even the people that are not here. And if you don't have Boshet Panim, that means you're not from that line of people from there. Because the Yirat Shamayim, the Boshet Panim that we received at Har Sinai, is all the way through. And the Rosh over here says, I'll just read it out. It says 4 beautiful words. It says, Ki misham yarshu haboshet. From Har Sinai, we inherited the concept of being shy, of having embarrassment. Unbelievable. Levavur tiyeh yirato al penechem. To have that fear on your face.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. Is it all related to just Lolam Lo Tiyeh Ragil Ben Darim?
Yeah, good question.
Like,
how are we getting on a tangent?
Yeah, that's what
Now you're tasting some tangent Gemaras. Nedarim hasn't had these yet.
Yeah.
Or you're going to see the next tangent we're going to go on. But anyways, so yes, because it starts with don't be accustomed to Nedarim, and don't be accustomed to this, don't be accustomed to that, and then it keeps on going. Usually the end of Prakim, it goes on some tangents.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up from the bottom. Amar Rav Yochanan ben Dehavai. Rav Yochanan ben Dehavai says, Daled Dvarim, there were 4 things, Sachuli Malachi Asharet. The Malachim, they told me 4 things. And here it is. Number 1, Chigrin, if your child has a limp, Mipene Mavian, what caused this child to have a limp? Mipene she'ofchim et shulchanam, because they turned the table over. This is the start of the laws of intimacy. And here, Rav Yochanan ben Dehavai says that limp children is because of the flipping of the table. So, number 1 is you could actually look at Rashi on this side, or the Mefarish. He says she'ofchin et hashulchan. He says hi lemala v'hu lemata. So the ideal way of a husband and wife intimacy is a man on top and the woman on the bottom. Flipping and the wife on top, that's called the flipping of the table. Another explanation of the flipping of the table is the flipping of the table where the wife is giving her back to her husband and they're together that way. That's also flipping of the table. So Rav Yochanan ben Dehavai says flipping of the table is what causes limp to have children with a limp. And the Ran and the Tosafot over here says that her legs are used in a different way, and therefore it affects the legs of the child. That's the connection to the legs here. Okay, 3 lines up at the bottom. Ilemim, Oron.
Oh no!
What is
What a shirt!
Just leave.